All right, so let's talk about the real balance effect or the wealth effect first. So this is basically coming from the fact that as the price level changes, people's real income change or their purchasing power changes, right? So you might get the same amount of money on your paycheck every week, but if the price level goes up, you can't buy as much stuff with your paycheck now, and so your real income, your purchasing power has declined. So this is the idea behind the real balance effect. Basically, as the price level changes, people's real income changes, and when their real income changes, that affects their expenditure. So the real balance effect is basically the change in expenditure that results from a change in the real value of money balances, right? The changes your real income, your purchasing power. And again, keep in mind that when we're talking about the real balance effect, we're holding everything else constant, right? So people's preferences aren't changing, and those sorts of things, right? But that's the real balance effect, or sometimes called the wealth effect. So that's one reason the aggregate demand is downward sloping. Another reason is the interest rate effect, and this mostly has to do with investment. Okay, so the real balance effect has to do with consumption for the most part. Although it does to some degree also affect the other components of GDP, right? Investment, government spending, and net exports. And the interest rate also can affect basically all of these components, but it's mostly the investment portion of GDP. So part of one price in an economy is the price of borrowing money, right? So when the price level goes up, that usually means that interest rates have gone up as well, which means it's more expensive to borrow money. And so when it's more expensive to borrow money, investment decreases. And then when the price level goes down, usually interest rates go down as well, since an interest rate is just a price of borrowing money. And when the interest rate goes down, it becomes cheaper to borrow money, and so investment increases, right? So that's basically what's going on with the interest rate effect, right? So it mostly affects investment, but to some degree it also can affect consumption, government expenditure, and net exports as well. All right, and then the last one, the open economy effect, has to do with the fact that as the price level changes, it affects foreigners' real purchasing power, or their real income. So this one's actually almost identical to the real balances effect, except that it has to do with foreigners' purchasing power, right? So when prices increase, foreigners desire to buy fewer American-made goods, while Americans desire to buy more foreign-made goods. So there's kind of a substitution effect going on, right? When prices in our economy go up, there's two things that happen. Foreigners buy less of our stuff, and we buy more foreigner stuff because relatively foreign goods become cheaper when prices in our country go up. Okay, so that's the open economy effect, so yeah, this really only has to do with net exports.